Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar. My name is Aditi and I'm the ambassador of Buzz at Tatvik Analytics. To give you a brief introduction, Tatvik is an authorized Google partner for reselling Google Analytics 360 suite and is also one of the leading providers of digital analytics solutions and consulting for SMEs and large enterprises. Today, this webinar will take you through how to predict your app uninstalls and how to prevent your users from churning using machine learning. It shall be presented by our product manager, Bismayy. Just a few things before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar panel. I will bring them up at the end of the presentation and we'll be sure to answer as many questions as time permits. I'll also be carrying out a couple of polls during the webinar. It'll just help us to get to know you guys better. We also have a cool free takeaway for all our attendees towards the end of the webinar, so please stay tuned to find out what it is. All right, Bismayy, so before we get started, I'm just going to launch one poll to ask all our attendees whether they track their app installs or not. Right, so I also see a lot of names from the last few webinars. A big shout out to all you guys for joining us back. Thank you so much. It's always fun to have you guys back in all our webinars. Cool. Okay, we still have a few people voting. All right, I'm just going to close the poll and share the results with you all. 78% of our attendees have said yes, they track their app uninstalls, and 22% have said no, that they don't. So Bismayy, it's going to be an interesting crowd for you today to talk to. Please, without any further ado, I'm just going to hand it over to Bismayy. Please take it over.
Hi guys, very good evening to all my Indian friends, and good morning to most of the guys who are from abroad across the oceans, either from India or from Europe or US or Australia. So interesting webinar topic, predicting app uninstalls. As I see from the blogs, from the polls, there are 78% of you are already tracking app uninstalls. That means that you also know the pain that I go through as a product manager. So I have developed certain apps at some point of time in my previous organizations. I'll give you an example which it happened with me. It was like we had a B2C app. It was for a typical sort of e-commerce app where we wanted to test one of our internal libraries where we wanted to track our users. And for that, my KPI as a product manager was to get around, say, 1,000 users in the very first 4 or 5 months. For that, as for my KPI, I also needed my users to be engaged so that they use my app more and more, and I'm able to track them better, right? But it's very devastating to know that when I started tracking my users on an analytical tool, about a couple of months down the line, I was shocked to know that there was around more than 57% of churn rate. Actually, I had 1,000 downloads on Google Play for the app, but 57% of them had fallen off. They had churned almost, so I had kind of lost those users. So with this precursor, I think if you are a product manager of an app marketer, you also face this kind of problem, right guys? So with this, let's jump onto the agenda. There is the agenda that is visible on your screen. We are going to talk about some uninstall stats, and then we'll also talk about the reasons why do users uninstall, and finally, which you guys are looking for, and I will also like to share. I'm very eager to share about it. It's the prediction model that we have developed in-house, and also I'll let you go through an use case for an e-commerce client that we deployed that prediction model for, right? So let's hear some stats. This is a wonderful, interesting survey that was done by thinkwithgoogle.com in the year 2015. And they say that an average app user has around 36 apps installed on his or her smartphone. If I look at my smartphone raw, on my list there are around 39 apps which I was going through just recently, some few days back. So yeah, it's cool, right? 36 apps on a smartphone. That means there's a market for you to put your app on a smartphone of any user. But they say that few apps are used daily. Only 26% are being used daily. That means 1 out of 4 apps are getting used. That's very less. That's a poor figure, isn't it? And if you look at the engagement in the apps, uh, only 1 in 4 smartphones, 4 apps are never ever used, which is again a problem. Let's just check. In our daily life, we do have some communication apps like WhatsApp, Messenger, or Facebook. We do have some social networking apps. Then we have some productivity apps, or then some other publisher apps, right? But these apps we might be using daily. But then there are other apps like some event registration apps, or maybe say some apps like Zomato app or a travel booking app, which you may or may not use daily. So uh, there's a possibility that you might never use that app in your lifetime, or it might happen that you had installed the app for one-time use and you just uninstall it. Yeah, I think you guys can also register the same reason, right? So here there's a big ouch. The ouch thing says that 38% of app users are likely to download an app when it's required to complete a purchase, and they just uninstall it after it's incomplete. From this result, actually, I have a similar experience to share with you guys. What happened was I was shopping on an e-commerce site, and they were asking me that install this XYZ wallet app so that you can get an cashback. So I did it. I used that cashback, and after that, I just uninstalled the wallet. So I think you guys, some of you would have done that, right? Yeah, Aditi, do you have to say something? Yeah.
Yeah, so well, Bismayy, these stats are pretty interesting and also, well, kind of, shouldn't say encouraging, but they are pretty cool because I tend to do that with at least 2 to 3 kinds of apps, which I categorize them as, requirement-based apps. Some are like those coupon apps where I'm stepping out and I just need, say, some offers or some discounts that I wanted to apply for, say, a spa or a salon or a dinner out. So I just get the coupon, uninstall the app, and that's it for I think that 1 month or 2 months, and then I might download if I need it in the future. So that's happened with me with these coupon apps, offer apps, even travel apps. It's pretty cool to see that I'm not the only person who does that.
Yeah, so Aditi, I think to woo you as a loyal customer, we need to do better as app marketers or product managers. Okay, so this is one interesting stat that I wanted to share with you guys. It was from Cantor Research Agency, and they say that 26% of your app users uninstall within the very first hour. So this is a global uninstall rates, and it's also over all different app categories. It might be different for, say, a gaming app or a publisher app or a communication app, but they have given it as an average level. And you can also see the range, the figures of uninstalls increasing over 1 hour to 2 hours. And the major point is about the 30 days that I'm trying to show here. 64% have a chance of uninstalling your app. That's poor, that's devastating, and that's also disappointing for an app marketer or product manager like me and like you, right? So this is another stat that was done by Quetra Mobile Intelligence, and they say that if you are not within the top 10 apps, then you have poor chances of retaining your users. So if you can see the curves, it says that 20% of your app users are going to uninstall even if you are in the top 10 of Google Play Store. But it goes on reducing, and you can see 80% there is a chance that if you are in a next 5,000 apps category, you are going to lose. So from all the stats, we are coming to know that app uninstall is a chronic problem. We need solutions. We have some solutions right now. We know to retarget uh, whom and what, but there's a catch. I will take you through it just in a bit of time. So the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was about why do users uninstall. So you must have gone through a lot of surveys from different app marketing companies, and also Google surveys, and everybody screams almost the same kind of reasons, right? The top 10 possible reasons why does your user uninstall, and what should you do to stop them from being uninstalling. So there's nothing new. I also wanted to do the similar kind of survey at Traffic Analytics. I did it during the month of May, and we had around 150 respondents. The figures that are being shown on the screen as something like this: 77% are saying they will uninstall if the memory space on their phone is less. That's like, even there is a 32 GB or a 64 GB external memory space on your phone, but still when you are installing app after app, like 36 apps, you really need space. 65% saying yes if the app takes too much time to load. In case of a 2G or a 3G speed, most of us really face the similar kind of difficulties, right? 53% are saying that, boss, I'm going to uninstall the app. If you're going to send me push notifications, that doesn't matter to me. If it's a food ordering app and you're sending me some good notifications about some new meals that are on your menu, yeah, that sounds exciting. But if you keep on sending something which doesn't make any sense, or say sign up if you are a first user, but you are already a user of the app, but they keep on sending the similar kind of notification, that is very poor targeting. 74% say yes, that they will uninstall if I show them a lot of ads on the app. This happens for some publisher apps, right? If you're a TOI client, it might happen. There are a lot of apps cluttering on your space and you're not able to even read the content. Some more reasons. App UI UX is complicated, 68%. Yes, this is again a bummer because we tend to do all kind of sprint testing so that your mobile UI, your the user journey is as simple as possible, as smooth as possible. But still, people do find it difficult to work with your app. 58% are saying app consumes too much of internet data. Again, that's a problem. If they are not on Wi-Fi and they're using their data packs, they are bound to feel difficult as and when your app consumes too much of monthly data. 82%. Oh, that's the huge figure. That's a huge figure. App drains your battery faster. If you check any of your battery usage indicators, you will find that usually Truecaller or Facebook Messenger, Skype, some kind of this apps generally feature at the top of the list. Even gaming apps. I was playing Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Go used to take a lot of my battery usage. And although it was a very engaging app, at some point of time I had to just uninstall it. Right? 70% they're saying that if there is another app which gives the same service, they're going to uninstall. Yeah, Uber, Ola, or something like Paytm or Bookmy. So if you are going to book movies, right? So it happens altogether. That's normal human nature. 34% are saying that app, if they are going to say yes, if they crash again and again, that means we are kind of doing good here, right, guys? So I think Aditi has something to pitch in here. Yeah, Aditi.
Yeah, guys, just we'd love to know what makes you uninstall an app. There's just this link that's flashing on your screens right now. What I'm going to do is I'll send you the same link in email. We would love to know what makes you uninstall an app. Also, in the meantime, I think the statistics that Bismayy has just put up are pretty interesting. I mean, if you look at, say, any gaming apps or even shopping apps or even social media apps, they all have some problem or the other. They obviously keep on iterating. Problem as in some reason. Every app gives you a reason to uninstall. So I think majority of the reasons that I can correlate with are the battery drainage and the extra push notifications that it's a big turn off kind of, you don't want to keep on being pushed so much. So it's pretty cool. Thanks, Bismayy.
Yeah. You are in a marketing department, but you still feel that difficult. You still feel that when you are sent a lot of push notifications, you still feel irritated, right? That's little hilarious. Okay, so this is where we start working. What's the work here? We want to know what's the prediction model that Tatvik has built, right? So let's take a scenario. You are an app marketer like me, and you have your KPI was 1 million plus downloads on Google Play. You achieved it. Yeah, kudos. You start tracking on your analytics tool. You are getting 2,000 daily active users. Okay. CPI, cost per install, is around greater than $1. That's also manageable. But let's check what's the customer lifespan. It is less than 10 days. That is poor, right? If you're getting a customer on the first day and is going to uninstall within the 10 days, you're actually not getting the money out of him. You're not actually getting the bucks out of him, right? And if you track your daily uninstalls, like you said in your polls that you do track your uninstalls, there are around 500 daily uninstalls. When there are 2,000 users coming into your app every day, there are 500 who are actually licking from the bucket. That is poor strategy, a poor engagement ratio, right? So the problem, if I talk about there's a revenue, there's a cost. Ideal case, revenue has to be higher than the cost. Otherwise, what's the use of developing an app, doing all kinds of analytical tracking activities, running a lot of acquisition campaigns to run your user. But if the lifetime value of your customer is very less, because and which is calculated by your frequency and the average transactional value, because he has uninstalled the app within the first 10 days. So obviously your cost is too high than your revenue. And the worst part is the marketer gets to know only after the app is uninstalled. So you never know the audience who are going to uninstall, and only after they have done it, after a couple of days, you come to know that you have actually lost those number of people. If you had the details, say they were logged in users, you could have their email IDs or phone numbers to start retargeting them, or to start asking them to come back to your app, or why did they uninstall my app? You get some feedback. And this happens with almost a lot of other apps, that if you don't have the user details anywhere captured during the journey or during the installation or integration, you have simply lost them. And you have lost them forever, I think, until and unless you hope for, with your fingers crossed, that they're going to come back again. Right? So what's the solution? This solution, if you can apply predictive analytics, which we can do, the prediction modeling for the similar kind of use case, so why not try with that? And that's what our data science team started working on it. They started building this prediction model. For that, we have used two data sources. We use an analytical tool, and we use one Tatvik's internal uninstall library. I will talk about the uninstall library in detail in my next slide. For the analytics, so why the two data sources? Let me talk about. So if you can see on the screen, there's a left-hand side which says days since last visit, average visit duration, count of visits. So these are all mostly behavioral or conversational attributes that you can get from your analytical tool. But if we need to know the device-specific attributes, you need to go dig deeper, or you need to understand you need to collate all this data. And that's where our uninstall library comes into picture. So our solution, the predict and model, the value proposition is it will predict the uninstall probability of an app user, and it will determine whether he is going to uninstall within the next n days, right? So, wow, that's a wonderful graphic that is on display here. So this is the internal library that I was talking about, the uninstall library. We start collating your data from network status, whether it's a Wi-Fi, 3G or 2G, whether they're a single SIM, what's the battery life of that is being consumed by the app, what is the device location, the total available internal or external storage space, which is very, very interesting when you are modeling for an uninstall. And there's one more wonderful thing about installed apps list. So you get to know what other apps are installed in the phone. Remember, I talked about some competitor apps, and this is where it comes into picture. Yes, there is also SMS inbox. Don't worry. We know it's PII information. All user details are encrypted. We know that there's a client ID or a user ID that is getting tracked in your analytical tool. So, but in our uninstall library, we have some more device identifiers, right from device ID, the Mac ID, the Android ID, and advertising ID, some lot of other identifiers that can actually uniquely identify your device of your user. So, the process, how do you work with this model? You connect your analytics with your tool with your predict time, and you integrate the uninstall library and start collecting attributes data. This uninstall library is a very lightweight property. It's around 20 KB in size. It needs to be integrated to your SDK. And once the user updates to the latest version, it starts collecting all the powerful attributes of the device. So you can store them on an AWS or an Azure server or on cloud, or you can push them back to your analytical tool using custom dimensions or custom variables. After we get both these data points, we start mix and match using the identifier as your primary key, and we build the model. We have this hypothesis that if there is no sorry, if the user has not returned to your app, there's a huge chance that he would have uninstalled your app or he's going to uninstall. Right? So the implementation process will give you the list of app users for a particular cohort who are going to uninstall. But the thing doesn't end here. The process doesn't end here, because okay, I know which app user is going to uninstall, for example, but what do I do after that? And that's where you start analyzing and you take the next action. The action is you segment them with the range of probabilities, say 0.75 to 1. These guys are definitely going to uninstall. 0.5 to 0.75. These guys are on the verge of uninstalling, and maybe if you push hard or you push with subtly or with a good message, they might stay back. 0.25 to 0.5, they may or may not uninstall. You can take your good heuristic decision. 0.0 to 0.25, maybe these are loyal people, you can leave them. So once you do this, what's the marketing action that you take? You start retargeting them using personalized push notifications, or send them email offers if you have the email IDs, right? But the wonderful part is that these people have not uninstalled your app. So there's a chance that if you send them push notifications or you send them some email campaigns, they might bounce back to your app and start using it, right? So at the end, the actions correlate to the final action is about churning. You have to prevent your churning and get your KPI, right? We are app marketers. We need installs, but we actually need more active installs. Our daily active users should be very high than only downloads on a Google Play. So that's how you improve your retention rate. I think Aditi wants to butt in here. Yeah, Aditi?
Yeah, Bismayy. So it's pretty intriguing. I just wanted to come and say hi to everyone again, and I just wanted to understand. So these the model that you explained seems very interesting, but I think we've covered as much as we could. And since there's a time constraint and there's a lot of other details that we'd like to cover, I'm just going to run a poll and understand if anyone from our audience would like a demo. If they'd like to sign up for it, I will be glad to reach out to them and we can set up a demo for the same. We'll just wait for a few seconds and let people answer. We are going to move on to a use case for the same, which involves an e-commerce app. All right, guys. 5 more seconds and then we're going to close the poll. Awesome. You're still getting answers. All right, I'm going to close the poll. We're running out of time, and I'm going to thank you so much for answering these polls. Over to you, Bismayy.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So we did the prediction modeling for one of our e-commerce app clients, and this is what I'm going to talk about in the next 10 minutes. So we took a new users cohort for them. It was around 2.4 million, and the time period was about 1st May to 15th May, so 15-day period. And the new users that were acquired were around 2.4 million. So this was the data that we wanted to predict for these people, that whether they're going to uninstall or stay on the app. The tools that we used were BigQuery for GA360, obviously for extraction of all the minute level data, and the uninstall library that I was talking about. Those logs were stored on AWS server, and we just pulled them back from AWS server, and we started mixing and matching with the BigQuery data that we had extracted. Before this, I tried with a Data IQ for a POC. So Data IQ is a data science platform. I will certainly recommend for people who are business analysts or data analysts who also like to do a lot of this prediction modeling. So this is an interesting platform where you can first start working on the hypothesis. You can build the hypothesis, you can validate it, and then go for full-fledged development, right? So I'll just run a video in the meantime. Okay, so this is the Data Science Studio platform, DSS, Data IQ DSS, that I generally use for validating and hypothesis for any type of prediction modeling. So I have used it for LTV prediction, remarketing cost prediction, and this one was for the uninstall app prediction. It's a wonderful platform. Any product manager before or a data analyst, whoever wants to work on predictions before giving it for full-fledged development can always use it. I would recommend it. Yeah, so this is the flow that you can see right now on my screen. So I took a training data set, I did some data cleaning on it, and finally there was a prediction algorithm that I used. Either it's a random forest or XGBoost. You can use any type of algorithms or a mixture of 3-4 algorithms to boost your accuracy. And the final, then you evaluate your model with a test data set, and there is the final output that you can see here was the test uninstall prepared score 2. Then there is a test data set that I took to understand how my once I trained the model on the trained data set, I used it on the test data set. Just let me see what's the let me show you what's the accuracy of it. See, the XGBoost was giving me an ROC of area under cover of 0.879, and these are the most important variables for the particular app. So it can be different for your business and your app, the important variables, right? Right. So I think people were interested. Like, it was an interesting video that we had captured a few days back when I was doing the modeling thing. So that's how we worked around. We extracted all these data points, and we started doing mix and match and all kinds of feature engineering, which obviously took a lot of time for it because we are not hitting good accuracy levels at the first instance. But then this is how it looked once we did all kinds of pipelining and Python programming. The backend was strong. That's how it looked. The model accuracy was around 87%, and the predicted churn of users were actually 0.2 million. That's like out of 2.4 million, 0.2 million were people who had probability that they were going to uninstall within the next 15 days. And that's poor. But you have to live with that. Average session time is around 574 seconds for them. Average session counts was around 1, obviously, because these people are not very engaging on your app. They came from direct channel, at least 62% of them. Average revenue was very less, 430 INR, and average transactions in those 15 days was 0.13. That's like even less than 1. That means we kind of validated our model along with the uninstall users pattern, right? That's how we went about it. Finally, what we did is we tried to reach out to this 0.2 million users. Actually, we didn't reach to the entire audience, but we had some people. We took out some segments of this audience and we started pushing through AdWords on their Google Play so that we can retarget them. Then, or what we did is we also sent them to using Firebase, because they had also Firebase as an uninstall tracking tool. So we sent push notifications. So you can use Firebase or UrbanASF for that. And this push notifications can be as appealing as possible, right? Say like there's a wonderful offer going on. Why don't you come back to our app and finish that transaction or something like that? MailChimp for your emailer campaigns. Although emailer campaigns generally they do have low conversion rate, but you can always try that if there's nothing else working with. You do have some good promotional offers. Like I received one promotional offer from one of the e-commerce apps, and they said that the product that is left on your cart has got a discount of around 10%. Why don't you come back and finish your transaction? So that's how I was lured, and actually I didn't uninstall the app. I'm still engaged on the app. So more or less, that's much we wanted to talk about. I think we'll have some questions right now. If you guys have some questions, please type them in the question box. Please, Adit, take it forward.
Yep, thanks, Bismayy. So, guys, like Bismayy said, we will go ahead and take some questions for now. Just a reminder, please be sure to type all your questions into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, and we will take them up. It looks like we have a few questions. The first question is from Ankita Thakur. Bismayy, she's asking which all Play Store permissions does the SDK need? Also, while you answer that question, I'm going to run our very last poll just to get a quick feedback from all our attendees. Guys, please answer this question, and Bismayy will answer yours.
Yeah, thank you, Ankita, for the question. When we were checking for some of the usual e-commerce apps or the general e-commerce apps that you use on a regular basis, and the permissions that they are asking, right from read and analyze users' data to send push notifications to read your messages and take your device details, we had almost the same number of permissions that we were asking. There was not a single other extra permission that we needed. So we actually tracked the battery usage, all these push notifications, all these push notifications tracking and everything that is done through the uninstall library. It is so there's not a single extra permission that we are going to ask, which your other apps are not doing so. Yeah, Aditi, I think I answered her question.
Yeah, I think so, Ankita. If you have any other questions, please type them in. Also, Oren Buckman wants to know how long did you spend on developing this model, Bismayy? How many days and nights did you toil?
Yeah. That's an interesting question. So I would say I'm not much of a data scientist. My data science team is well equipped to do this. So we kind of started collecting data. So for data collection, it took us about we wanted around a couple of months data to feed into our model. It was huge amount of data, but so we had to do a lot of data cleaning first, and then started doing feature engineering for that. And that's how the feature engineering, I would say it took around more than a week, maybe around 10 days. to get back to some accuracy levels for the model. And also, as I said, I was doing some POCs. I was running different types of algorithms, right from random forest to XGBoost to SVM, and we were getting varying level of accuracy. But if you ask me how much time did it take, we actually took more than 20 days. But maybe next time we do it, we should be able to do it within 7 days. Yeah. Any more questions? I think I answered his.
There's one more question from Saurav Das. He's asking how heavy is the SDK? What's the size?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for asking. Yeah, as I said, it's a very lightweight library. It is just 20 KB in size. Once we integrate it into your SDK, we just have to make sure that the users from there on, they update to the newest versions, so that they start so that we start collecting the new device attributes. But as you said, as you asked me, what's the device, what's the library size? It's only 20 KB right now. We also toiled hard to bring it down to such a lightweight, because I already know most of the apps are like 15 MB, 20 MB. So there was no point in putting another small library into it, which has a huge data consumption. Right, guys? Yeah, Aditi, any more questions?
Actually, we have a lot of questions. They're going to pick and choose. I'm sorry, I need to close the poll also. Thank you guys for taking the poll. I'm struggling with a lot of questions right now. Bismayy, the second question, now the next question is from Harsh. He's asking if we can customize model input parameters.
Yeah, Harsh. I think Harsh is a data scientist then. So why not? Why not? See, the point here is for the business that we were working, the e-commerce app, they had normal analytical tools dimensions that they were tracking with, and this device attributes that we track from the uninstall library. So we didn't take any more custom attributes from their side. So the point was, once you I'm sorry. So the problem is not with if you want some other custom dimensions to be fitted in the model. Yeah, obviously, if you are doing some better custom tracking for your device or if for your users, we'll most certainly like to look at that. Why don't you come out for a demo with us, and we'll definitely try and fit in our model. If it actually boosts the accuracy of our model, then it's a win-win situation for both of us, right? Right, Has? Yeah.
All right, we still have a lot of questions to go through. Well, Pranav Agarwal is asking if we would be sharing the presentation and the webinar video with them. I can answer this myself. We definitely will share the presentation and this webinar with you guys. Just allow us a few hours to settle everything down, and we shall send it across to you. Okay, I do realize there are a lot of questions that we haven't been able to answer. We are actually running out of time, and I promise you, Bismayy will definitely get in touch with you personally over email and answer all your questions individually. We will be sure to do that within one working day so that we can engage in further conversations. In case you have any doubts, please feel free to write to us. You know our email address, it's marketing@tatvik.com. All right. So moving further, like I promised, we have a token of gratitude for all of you as a thank you for staying with us. Please write an email to us with the coupon code that's flashing on your screens right now and avail a free demo GA audit, GA health checkup of your website. Well, it says today, we'll get back to you in a day. So yeah, also, we have a next webinar coming up. I hope you guys enjoyed this one and this webinar was informative for you. Please do join us back for our next webinar on the 6th of July. It's the same time, and the topic is the power of remarketing when Google Analytics 360 joins force with Predict N. Speaker is Bismayy. Bismayy will be back to talk to you guys, right, Bismayy?
Yeah, you said there are a lot of questions. I wish there was so much time and you shouldn't have stopped the webinar. I could have continued talking with the audience. But yeah, I'll be coming back with for the remarketing problem. We have developed a certain kind of model which actually boasts of more than 150% ROI over any of your remarketing campaigns. So please come back again on July 6th around the same time. We'll definitely crack this new remarketing thing with you. Yeah. So over to you, Aditi.
Right, guys, I'm just thank you so much for your interest in staying back. I have just sent out a link to all of you. That's the link to register for this webinar. Please go and register. We look forward to seeing you the next time as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.